Levi with InterNACHI Marketing here for another quick logo breakdown. As always, I'll start with a recognizable logo over here. We'll talk about Bosch, which originally started with like kind of these electronic connection points that were copyrighted by the company earlier on. They ended up going with like kind of a sparking armature graphic that over time became more and more simplified until it landed at this, and then that was important because it needed to be embossed in metal and it was going to be small on a lot of objects. So what Robert Bosch said when they finalized this incredibly simplified kind of connection point in the logo is that trademarks must be simple and clear if they're going to make an impression and be easily remembered. So today we're going to talk about Inspect Montana, which is a letter form graphic as opposed to this kind of almost abstract pictorial graphic. The place where this logo started was with the inspector wanted to have the I and the M integrated into a graphic for Inspect Montana, but eventually they decided to drop the I, which was a good choice and made for a much cleaner logo design over here. This is where it ended up landing. And this is just a better logo overall because it's more simple and more direct, and you sort of get the impression of a mountain and trees with the minimum amount of images. So a question that's good to ask yourself when you're setting up a logo is, what can you get rid of? And the more you ask this question, often the better the logo will end up working, because you're always going to end up having a logo. The logo will end up having to be scaled down to an incredibly small size in a lot of instances. So it's better to have it work when it's small. If you want to print it on like the side of a pen, it has to be incredibly simplified. So it's good to think through the places you want to use your logo and how you want to print it and how well it will work across all of the things you want to print it on. But the more simplified it is, the more versatile it'll be in the long run. Like Robert Bosch said, the more simple, it's easier to remember, it's easier to work with. How you use negative space can make for more interesting design. So we started here with these, I cut the trees out of this sort of like mountain shape to create like a capital M to tie into their name, Montana, Inspect Montana. So we just use the M. I've seen the house with mountains a lot. I've seen that design a lot of times. I've seen it done better and worse, but it's a design that I've seen frequently. I've seen a capital M made with like two trees and mountains one time. So they also focused on making like a unique design that worked well for the area that they're working in. So a good logo it's only a starting point. It's a roadmap for the rest of your branding. How well it's carried across everything determines how well it works. The fonts that you use in your logo will be used across all of your branding. So if you use fonts that don't work well across the rest of your branding, generally that will cause problems. So it's better just to start with something good because that will define how everything else works. Also, on the other side, a good logo used on poorly designed material isn't going to work either. Like just having a nice logo on the top of a really poorly designed website doesn't work and doesn't make for particularly good branding. And the reason I specifically picked Inspect Montana for this logo design today was that this was carried out really well across everything. This was the card we made for them, and they ended up doing this really nice site over here, which used all of their colors and like big bold fonts, easy to read. And then they ended up plugging everything into a really well-made video that animates the logo and moves it around, but keeps repeating that image across the video that plays when you open the page. Anyway, hopefully that's helpful. If you have any questions for us or need help thinking through your logo design, or if you would like us to set up a logo design for you, you can get a hold of us at marketing.nachi.org. Thanks for your time.